Hi everybody, this is Dan Stolberger. Welcome to this week's KFIR Middle East Update. It's the week of July 17th. We actually look back over the last week in terms of what's transpired in the Middle East and Israel leading up to today. Always a reminder to grab the PDF PowerPoint because it accompanies this YouTube. There's always photos and more information in the PDF PowerPoint than we have time for with this short YouTube. We always begin with our news bites. And as we speak, the president of Israel is heading to the United States to meet with Joe Biden, as well as a joint congressional meeting time together. And one of our Congress elites, I'm saying that sarcastically, but one of our Congress people has decided to comment that there's no way in hell that she would attend this joint congressional time together with the president of Israel. Of course, that's Ilan Omar, and we'll talk a little bit more in this concerning her stance and the so-called squad. Joe Biden, on the other hand, make no doubt about it, this is a snub to Bibi Netanyahu, who, the president of Israel is really a figurehead. The power remains with the prime minister and his elected government. Important to hear that, elected government. And it's been 7 months, and Joe Biden's decided to snub Bibi Netanyahu. And in the midst of everything that's taking place, Biden has made it known he's planning on calling Bibi tonight before Hertzog gets there to, in a sense, speak out against the government's he wants to make sure that Bibi understands that the U.S. is against his plans to overhaul the judicial system in Israel, like it's our business, right? But anyhow, this is Joe Biden. Because of what's transpiring, and it's just not the judicial overhaul, it's really the U.S.'s decision to try to still create a two-state solution, but even more than that, a compromised nuclear agreement with Iran. There's tensions. Things are not smooth. And in fact, the head of the opposition, Lapid, basically has said that as a result, and this is his little dig at Netanyahu's government, as a result of the government's policies, now listen to this, the United States is no longer our closest ally. Who would have ever thought? Just yesterday, Bibi Netanyahu was admitted to the hospital. There's speculation concerning his health. Bibi basically said, hey, I was up at the Kinneret, I was in the Galilee, I didn't have a hat, it was hot, I was dehydrated, and so he spent overnight in the hospital, but there is growing concerns that maybe there's something more to this than just dehydration. We'll have to wait and see concerning that. And then last week, again, these are our news bites, we know about Hezbollah in the north. We know about the arsenal of missiles and rockets they have and the tension that's currently taking place. We know about Syria. We know about the sorties that Israel maintains, or at least does on a regular basis to disrupt the Iran from Iran to Hezbollah. That's the corridor that they use to get their weapons to Lebanon. And again, we know about the Israeli air attacks on those supply lines. We also know, of course, about Hamas, Gaza, and we know about what transpires there. But now we've got in the West Bank the city, the town, the village of Jenin. And Last week we talked about this incursion. The IDF went in to root out terrorism there. The majority of terrorists that accomplish horrific deeds in Israel, most of them are from this particular area in Jenin. But just last week, an Arab jihadist group calling themselves Al-Alash Battalion claimed to have fired two rockets, at the Israeli community of Shakid, which is close to the proximity of Jenin. So now we have rockets flying from within Israel in Jenin to border cities such as Shakid. So it's just continuing to ramp up. Okay, so we talked about Hertzog going. We've talked about Ilan's comment, no way in hell. But it appears that this squad is growing. Jaya Paul, I think that's how you say her name, a Democratic lawmaker, was speaking and at the where she was speaking to the groups of people that she was speaking at. I don't know if it was a conference or whatever. She got interrupted by pro-Palestinians that were just shouting at her. And her comments were, hey, as somebody who's been in the streets, I want you to know that we've been fighting to make it clear that Israel is a racist state, and that the Palestinian people deserve self-determination and autonomy, and that the dream of the two-state solution seems to be slipping away, but we're going to do everything that we possibly can. Again, that's the statement that was made, and throughout Twitter and other social media, the big headlines is that this lawmaker, this congresswoman, has made this statement that Israel is a racist state. And so we're seeing more and more of the Democratic lawmakers that are sort of swinging towards the what we call the squad. And that's, of course, those that are anti-Semitic and hate Israel with a passion. And so her remarks just recently makes it evident that the left-wing squad is growing. And again, this next screen is AOC and Omar, and I have the note, is this U.S.'s brightest and best? Again, Omar's comments about not attending No Way in Hell. And part of a Twitter thread, she appears to be completely unaware that Israel's president, this figurehead, Isaac Hertzog, was different than its prime minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. So she was essentially saying, if you know anything about Hertzog, he's more moderate than Bibi is. And if there was ever the need to support for those that are on the left, it would be to attend this, to show that support, but yet probably completely unaware of how the government is put together in Israel. And this is our brightest and our best, right? Okay, Hezbollah, we've talked about that. Is what's taking place on the north, is it ramping up? Currently, just so you know, Lebanon is rudderless. There's no sitting president. The terrorist group of Hezbollah has infiltrated the parliament and is looking for a regime change, seeking to bring about this regime change by installing their own candidate as the president of Lebanon, the country's top spot. And so this unrest that is taking place, is creating, and again, for Hezbollah, how do you prove yourself popular? Fight Israel. Hate Israel, do something, or whatever. And that's what's taking place right now. In fact, there are those in the IDF that's concerned and wondering, is Hezbollah actually planning? Is there a war that's pending? And according to Israeli media, there's an ongoing debate with the upper echelons of the IDF to whether a large-scale war with Hezbollah is inevitable in the near future. Again, with all this transpiring, and keep in mind that Hezbollah has an arsenal of over 150,000 rockets that are pointed at the Jewish state. Experts estimate that Hezbollah could bombard Israel's north with up to about 4,000 rockets a day. That would begin with the conflict, whenever the conflict would begin, and for an extended period of time, be able to launch up to 2,000 rockets on a regular basis. And so the question is that, and again, this is 13 times more rockets that were ever fired from the south, from Gaza into Israel during the whole 2023 conflict with Islamic Jihad in Gaza. And so what is taking place? We covered a couple weeks ago the blue line, and that there's been incursions from Hezbollah breaking through security fences, setting up outposts on, they would call it a neutral site, and Israel is going to say, no, you're actually on Israeli soil. So again, a lot taking place up there, and we know who's behind it. And so this is ultimately Iran versus Israel. The Prime Minister, the Defense Minister of Israel, Yoav Gallant, quotes this week, or comments this week, that Israel and its allied nations have foiled more than 50 attacks that Iran has attempted to carry out against Israelis and Jews across the world. 50 different attacks, 2023 alone. And again, I know I'm stating the obvious, but okay, it is what it is. Iran has been leading a worldwide terror campaign. It's unprecedented, its scope. And the bottom line is that the U.S. seems to be holding their hands over their eyes, blinding themselves to this, and as crazy as it sounds, are looking to negotiate some sort of nuclear agreement with the leading sponsor of worldwide terror. Okay, we'll wrap up here. CUFI, Christians United for Israel. John Hagee's over millions of people are a part of this. The question is that with upcoming elections, is there a Trump snub? So the Christians United for Israel launched its 18th annual policy conference on Sunday, and they'll be hosting 3 of the leading Republican presidential candidates. Ron DeSantis will be speaking about his record on Israel, countering anti-Semitism. Vice President Mike Pence and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley will be headlining the event of this program. And so the question is that, wait. DeSantis, Pence, Haley, where's Trump? And so it's evident that these were the only 3 that were invited. And Hagee made the comment that former President Donald Trump, who's currently leading in the Republican primary polls, was not invited to speak at this year's conference. So read into that what you may, but that's what's taking place. And then I don't know if you've been keeping up with this, but there's been both in Norway and Sweden and Denmark the governments there have granted permission to burn Bibles and the Torah outside of Israeli embassies. Burning books, burning the New and Old Testament, burning the Torah, supporting Iran. We have to be approaching, if not in the midst of, the latter days. So I'm just reminding you all that when Jesus talked about the end of days, he didn't go into a whole lot of detailed information, but he does talk about the end of days, and he does say that we need to watch and we need to pray. We need to be educated as what the Bible has to say, because I think this time is fastly approaching. With that being said, our upcoming series is going to start mid-August. We're going to begin to go through the book of Revelation for our old-time Bible study that we film, we video. It's an hour long. It's an old-fashioned chapter and verse. So it'll be on YouTube, and it's part of our KFIR Bible reading program that you can join at any time. All that information, again, is on our website at holygroundexplorations.com. So that is the week that leads up to today. God bless you. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem, and shalom.